The center of attention in Washington, the agency is accused of inappropriately targeting conservative groups on April 24th. I am joined this morning by Congressman Sean Duffy, represents the 7th Congressional District. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on this morning.
Now, when did you learn about the IRS scandal and what was your reaction to it?
Well, I learned when the rest of America learned about the scandal, when the IRS, Lois Lerner, made it public by leaking it to some bankers that she was speaking with. Listen, I was outraged, just like every other American. And what's interesting, this is not a Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative issue. All Americans are concerned when government targets one group or another because it might be one group today, but it might be the other one tomorrow. And we don't want to see politics involved in our IRS, and a lot of us were very concerned about the targeting.
And viewers at home might be wondering how this could impact them. Will there be an impact that you know of?
Well, listen, I don't know if we had any specific individuals in the 7th District of Wisconsin targeted, but I think it has an effect on the trust of our government and the trust of the IRS. And I think right now people want to know what really happened because they want to hold their government accountable, and they want to make sure this doesn't happen again.
And I'm guessing you're still trying to get to the bottom of what happened as well.
We're still trying to get answers on who knew what and when they knew it.
Now, you had a heated exchange with the Treasury Secretary, Jack Lew. We have a clip of that, so let's take a quick listen.
I want you to try my question, okay?
Yeah.
You're aware that there's a scandal going on right now in Washington about the IRS targeting Americans, right? You're aware of that scandal?
Congressman,
Yes?
I've been testifying on it for 2 days.
That's right. So in regard to that scandal, when did you become aware that that targeting of groups was going on?
Congressman, I just answered your
No, you
question.
didn't.
I'm happy. I first saw the report a week ago.
Hold on a second,
yesterday.
Mr. Lew.
I
I'm not
first read
talking about a
reports
report.
Friday.
I'm not talking about a report. When did you become aware, in your capacity as a chief or any other capacity, that there was targeting going on of Americans? I'm not asking you about a report. I'm not asking you about the IG.
Okay.
When did you become aware that there was targeting of Americans from the IRS?
Now, can you tell us a little bit more about the exchange there and when this happened?
Yeah, so what I noticed was when Mr. Lew was testifying in front of the Senate, when asked about when he knew about the IRS scandal, he would say, I knew about the IG report on March 15th. He wasn't answering the question. Also, when President Obama received that very same question in a press conference, he said, I learned about the IG investigation when all of the rest of Americans learned about it. So I wanted to ask him, I don't care about when you learned about the IG report. I don't care when you learned about specific facts. I want to know when you heard about the rumors that this was going on, because he was the chief of staff for the president in the White House for the year that this was going on, and now has just been promoted to the Treasury Secretary. And I couldn't get a straight answer from him. And listen, President Obama said he wants strong answers to the scandal with the IRS. And I think we have a right to know answers to the questions that we're asking. And he was stonewalling me through the whole hearing. And you can tell I was getting a little bit frustrated because he wasn't answering our questions. And people in Wisconsin, people around America need to know if he knew at some point before the investigation, because that expands this thing to a far wider spectrum. And the way he answered the question, for me, the bells are going off, the sirens are ringing, saying because he wouldn't answer the question, he wanted to answer something else about an IG report, tells me he knew more than he was letting on in that hearing.
And really quickly, I just want to switch gears. You had an opportunity to go way up north and tour the devastation left behind by that massive wildfire. What was that experience like, and what did you see?
Listen, it was pretty massive devastation through the forest. Thank God they were able to put it out before it got to a more residential vacation type area. I got to say, my takeaway was the men and women who fought that fire. I am so impressed with how well they performed, that they were able to get this thing under control. It was a tinderbox up there. They performed incredibly well, and they've had a lot of tragedy up there, whether it was the floods, now the fire, they had tornadoes and straight line winds, all in the last couple of years. So the men and women and the response, absolutely superb.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Back to you, Sean.